Hi, I'm Oля and I'll show you how to completely gut an old master bedroom and transform it into a brand new retreat, getting the most out of the same space. I'll share tips on how to achieve magazine-worthy look and save money by doing it yourself, even with no previous design nor building experience. Welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it will inspire you and arm you with some really good tips. A few words about me. After many years of working first as a graphic designer and later on as a product marketing manager in financial services, I was laid off when the global economy crisis struck, which was just 15 days after I purchased my first house, a fixer-upper from the 60s with my partner at that time. Struggling to land a new job in marketing, savings had to be made, so I had to learn how to design spaces and how to actually build them myself, which is something I've never done before in my life. I knew I had passion for fashion and cooking, but building materials and tools, a whole new world opened up to me just like that. So if you have a space that needs renovation, decoration, but professional design space is not in your budget, I'll show you how you can do it yourself with the benefit of creating your own custom look while saving money, having fun learning something new, and in the end being darn proud of your accomplishments, earning the right of calling yourself a super master genius. On to the master bedroom project now. The decision was to demolish all plaster walls inside of the house, so that the walls could be reframed properly. This allowed for a new layer of insulation to be installed as there was none, and of course to run the new electrical. So if you are doing this huge job already, you may as well have your design plans in the works right there and then, because then, for example, it's so much easier to plan to have a light fixture whatever you want or hide cable masts inside the walls. Also, it is most definitely easier to deal with a brand new drywall rather than with the insane square footage covered with the old wallpaper, which seems to have infected every single corner of this house. Now, before we move on, I do have to make a note about safety. Before you decide to go ahead with any of these projects, I encourage you to inform yourself really well from trusted professional sources, and then you will see what you can truly tackle alone and what you may have to leave to professionals. As I mentioned before, I'm not a professional. This is simply my experience that I'm sharing and a thing or two that I've learned during this elaborate 4 years hands-on process while working on my house. And having something cold from a freezer to press on for when you bang yourself, because it will happen, it's always a great idea. So I armed myself with some basic tools, not to forget just several sizes of sledgehammers, of course, protective clothes, construction mask, and eyewear, in my case double, as mandatory items. Demolition can start now. Also, what I found that it's so much easier when you think of the wall as something that made you angry or disappointed, like for example when you were laid off from a job that you absolutely loved and you were freaking good at it. I mean, you can imagine anyone on that wall, really. Just pump up your muscles and bang, start smashing. We removed old floors as well, as they were just so thin and squeaky they simply had to be redone. Fixed down with gazillion little nails, which I had to remove patiently one by one. Yeah, I think I must record a whole new segment on fashion under construction. Done with the old, clear the space for the new. Such liberating thing, especially when you save about $1,000 for doing all this demolition yourself. With the clean canvas now, it's time to make some plans of the new space following these 4 steps. First and foremost, you need to think how the space will be used, besides sleeping obviously. Functionality first. Is this going to be your dressing room? Are you going to be having closet space inside of the room, and how much of that space would you need? In this case, I had to deal with a built-in closet already too small and with its access limited by the height of its door. So I decided just to put it all down and take one entire wall to install floor-to-ceiling closet from IKEA that can comfortably serve 2 people and definitely make you not miss the walk-in closet. Then ask yourself, what else will you be doing in there? I mean, will you be reading books? Will you be watching TV? Will you be using it for office work maybe? For being pretty casual people, the decision was to most definitely have big TV installed in the room so that it can be watched from the bed. Also, I very much enjoy reading books when I have time, so I tried to squeeze in a separate area for such activity. Now you can move on to deciding what kind of feeling you want to create. Maybe you remember some nice hotel you've stayed at or some other relaxing, cozy places you've visited. And let me tell you, you can always find lots of inspirational images online as well. For me, I knew I wanted a cozy atmosphere where the old world meets the new, where the decor and feel will preserve the house built in the 60s, but it will surely mark modern times as well. 4 key things I really wanted: a fireplace, different lighting, elaborate wall moldings, and rich custom-made French pli drapery. Now, this is the moment where you can totally blow up your entire budget, but if you're willing to roll up your sleeves, I will show you that you can have all the luxe items you wish if you're willing to do it yourself. And this is not something you have to do, but I like to motivate myself, so I used my graphic designer skills and I've created the room I wanted in Photoshop, color scheme included. If you're embarking on such a journey with somebody, keep in mind that not everyone can visualize things without actually seeing it, so this kind of exercise surely helps when making joint decisions. And then, by this point, you should already know if there are any furnishings you're bringing back to the new room. This is also a great opportunity to declutter and maybe repurpose some of the furniture elsewhere in the house. I knew I was bringing a queen-size bed frame from my previous apartment, so I've included it into my designs. The measuring tape and painter's tape are your best friends now. Measure the space. If you are doing what I did here, then don't forget that the new wall framing will eat your space once the 2x4s are installed on each wall, plus the thickness of new drywall and then any baseboard you may be installing, and I sure hope that you will be. Measure any existing and new furniture, closets, even pieces that you might not get right away but later on, and that is why I sure do recommend you to have those design plans right at the beginning. It doesn't matter if you can only complete the room in a year, let's say, but you have to have a plan that you will stick to. With the painter's tape, make all the markings of the furniture on the floor. That way you can see right away what can fit, what feels good, can you move around, and what needs to be changed. And then put all that on paper. Obviously I used here software, but pencil and paper will do just fine. And now you just have to decide on your color scheme and you can go and create. I think the safest way to go for anyone really is to pick a fabric. It can be for a throw pillow, a rug, or a drapery with more than one color in it, and there they are. You can do the same with the wallpaper. You saw in my mock-ups earlier, I wanted that gray, yellow, white color scheme that I pulled from a drapery fabric I wanted, but that fabric was priced at $30 per meter, which was way over my budget. So I found this fabric on clearance for $5 per meter instead. So for French pli drapery for this room, that is total savings of $350 just for fabric. From this piece of fabric, I pulled antique white color and maroon color for the walls of the room, and then gray and navy blue for the most prominent pieces of furniture and decor in the room. This way, everything comes together and relates to each other in harmony. You can't go wrong with this formula. Just stick to fabric as your starting point and always take it with you when shopping for the rest. Once you're done with these 4 steps, it's execution time. There are lots of things that you can do yourself and save lots of money, but I strongly encourage you to leave the structural job to to a licensed professional. Structural job like framing the walls or even removing existing ones, because some of them might be load-bearing walls, which means a supporting beam or a post will need to be installed. Also, the electrical job, please don't touch that unless you have real good experience at it and you know how to do it by the code. But even if you want to upgrade your electrical panel for the house, let's say like it was done here, you need to have a licensed electrician to do that for you. For the electrician to do the job, you need to have your design plans ready, making sure you point on where you want which light to be, like for example wall sconces or the lights inside of the closet, should it have a separate switch and where. Based on your planned furnishings, where the cable TV should be positioned. Imagine all wall electrical outlets that you will need. You really need to think what you will be plugging in and where would be the best spot for it. So this is if you're building new walls or reframing existing ones like here. But if you're not knocking down any walls and you're working with what you have, you can still have, let's say, a new light fixture installed in a brand new position. Electrician will have to make some smaller holes on your walls through which it's possible to fish for the existing wire and drive the connection to where it's needed. After that, simple patching of the wall is required with a little tape, mud and sanding. Done this option in my previous apartment, so I can tell you everything is possible. From this point on, I believe anyone can build the rest because I did it. After the electrical job, wall insulation is next. There are many different insulations out there which are also differently installed. I used here Roxul stone wool insulation, which is a product made of natural and recycled materials. I used two types, this pink one for the exterior walls, which I further covered in thick plastic and then taped its all edges, all openings around the electrical outlets with the permanent tape so that there's no airflow. And for the interior walls, like walls separating the rooms, I use this green one, which is also fire resistant, and what I like the most is that it absorbs the sound. Covering this one with drywall is enough. And this is so easy to install because this product comes in pre-cut pieces that exactly fit the standard distance between 2x4s of 16 inches, I believe. So minimal cuts are needed, which are also easy to do with a simple knife. And whatever smaller pieces you may be left with after cutting, for sure you will use them to patch up some holes usually found around window box. Cover your skin fully when dealing with this product because it may be itchy on your skin. Always wear a mask and just read the safety instructions on the back of the packaging. This product has many nice features, but the most important one I think is that it's certainly an awesome energy saving item worth your investment. Savings on this job were about $350. Next step brings drywall into the play, and 4 hands can totally do it with the simplest, littlest tools. Some standard drywall comes as 4 feet by 8 feet in half-inch thickness, and you can opt to go for something thicker than that to improve room-to-room sound control as it was done here. There are many information out there on how to install sheetrock or drywall, so I'll just move on to the next step. And now it comes to the job part I hated the most, but it was only a step away from me to start bringing in the pretty into the room, so that vision got me motivated to push through the worst. Of course, I'm talking about taping, mudding and sanding. Yeah, sanding, the worst of all construction jobs I've done. But the good news is, when you start doing it room by room, you become better and better and faster and more efficient. And if you go to the gym, it will help you greatly because this is labor-intensive activity. You gotta be strong physically and mentally. And even if you're dealing with the existing walls, you still need to patch up any holes and imperfections that you can see before you start painting it. Hey, but here's something to motivate you. How about $2,000 of savings for doing all the drywalling, taping, mudding and sanding yourself? All this work can be so exhausting, so make sure you take a break when you need it. Just, go out and make friends with your neighbors, especially if they're so cute and furry ones. simultaneously as the walls were being built, the floors were getting its improvements as well. After all boards have been rescrewed and no more squeaking could be heard, there comes the new subfloor. Again, all you need are 4 hands, but this time some more serious power tools, and if you don't have them, you can rent them at the Home Depot, for example. You will need a circular saw, and to cut weird little corners or vent openings, you will need something like a jigsaw. Each board glued down with the construction glue and then screwed. Now that's a sturdy floor. Walls ready, floors ready, it's time for pretty things now. Exciting moments. If you're not going for any wall moldings, you can start priming and painting your walls from this point on. I, however, really wanted wall moldings, lots of it, with the elaborate crown molding and even bolder baseboard. This adds so much character to the room, it makes it look high-end and gives it a very cozy feel. When we renovate our homes, we're always thinking of bringing the value of the home up. So there is one thing you should know about this, and it really depends on your neighborhood. But you shouldn't stand out too much when reviewing potential resale options down the road in terms of home finishings. So for some, this may not bring back the investment. However, if you learn to do it yourself, you're covered. For this room in particular, I saved approximately $1,500 by doing it myself. To do this nicely and properly, you really need to arm yourself with patience. And remember, we only learn the best when we start doing things and making mistakes, so cut yourself some slack at the beginning and don't give up. I am planning on making a separate video with step-by-step guide on how to install various wall moldings. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel, or also you can go to my website esgravali.com and subscribe there and never miss new content being launched. Additional info and links will be added just right down below this video. For now, I would just like to point out on a few key tips when installing wall moldings. To install the crown molding, you should definitely first cut some triangles out of a 2x4 piece. Then with the stud finder, locate all the 2x4s of the wall framing behind the drywall, mark it, and then place those triangles on those markings along the edge where the wall meets the ceiling, glue it and nail it down. Now you should place the crown molding, which should lay snug on those triangles, and that should be also the spots where you should nail the molding in place, as opposed to just nailing it into vast empty space behind it and just hoping that part of that nail will end up in a wood framing behind the drywall. The option I just described is much sturdier one. Second tip, on the inside corners, either of the crown molding or the baseboard, do not just cut both sides to 45 degrees and join them together that way, because boards are not straight and walls are not straight, and chances are you will not get a nice joint that way. And more so over time, boards and the binding material will contract and expand in different temperatures and humidity levels, so that gap will just become much bigger. Instead, put in some more work now and make a better joint by coping one of the boards in that joint. This basically means that one side should be sort of eaten behind, so when you join it to the other board, it should sort of slide over into much better fit, and that will have minimal changes, if any, down the road. I should tell you that I've become master of coping. The third tip I would like to give you is regarding those squares on the wall. Have the measurements of your walls in hand and room plans as well, and based on that, decide where the squares should be, in which size. Should they be the same or not the same? Are you aiming to match a particular feature of the room? Like for example, I was aiming to fit a bed frame in one larger square on one wall, and then I aimed to sort of frame the TV on the other wall and make it proportional to the fireplace. Do you see how important it is to have those design plans ready in advance to the details? Then throw it down, mark all exact measurements, and throw all the same onto the wall now. When throwing it onto the wall, choose to start measuring from the ceiling, a place with more visibility than, let's say, at the bottom, so therefore it should look perfect up there. There is a tool I attempted to use at the very beginning. It's like a little mouse that can be fixed on a wall on one side of the room, and with the laser on it, it would simulate a straight level line across the wall to the other side of the room, and that would be so great. It would help me a lot, save me a lot of time if only the walls, especially so close to the ceiling, would be straight. Nah, so that didn't work. I actually had to drop down the same measure from the ceiling or the crown molding to top of each square and made sure that that space across the wall actually looks even. This was my starting point when transferring drawing onto the wall as real measurement. I built each square from 4 separate pre-flexible boards directly onto the walls, all measured and cut as per drawings on the walls, all glued down, nailed down, all side gaps, all joints and all nail holes filled with caulking. For this project, I used MDF product, which is engineered wood product, and it stands for medium density fiberboard. It is also more affordable than the wood product. It's so easy to work with, and it also comes primed. I used MDF for all my moldings, including the window casings and trims for both door and the window. To cut ends and corners, it is great if you have or can rent a sliding compound miter saw, but not necessary. With a little more time and extra muscle power, you can do all the cuts with a handsaw and a little plastic holder invented for this purpose that has slits of many different angles on it. Some tool for precise sanding will come handy when doing coping, and you will also need a nail gun, a caulking gun, and lots of construction glue, nails and caulking to install it all. After I did 2 rounds of caulking and made sure everything was smooth, it was time to paint. To keep the character and not build drama, I wanted my wall moldings to blend in rather than to stand out. So what I did here was I painted all the squares and the baseboard later on the same paint color as the background wall, with the exception of choosing higher sheen level for the baseboard paint, and this is just to stand up a little bit and of course being more durable for any scuffs. Decided to let the crown molding be the crown, so I painted it in white all around, just the same as the door and window trim. On a paint job for this room with all these moldings, I saved approximately $1,000 by doing it myself. For the floors were true treat. They have such amazing products out there today, like this strand woven bamboo flooring. It's insanely hard, a commercial grade. Comes in 2 natural colors, pale one and this one, which is reached by the way they process it and not stain it. It is eco-friendly product. It only takes few years for plant to grow, and once it's harvested, its root still continues to live. It is also so easy to install. It's so-called floating floor, which means that planks are joined together by a simple click system, and you can so totally do it yourself. Make sure that you get the right underlayment for it, and also get approximately 10% of extra bamboo material than what your square footage tells you. This is to allow to do all the cuts that needs to be done, and the waste material is a result of it. Keep one thing in mind though, that the pattern you chose to go with may actually save you on the material, like it was case here. Heads up for having to do weird cuts, like for example vent openings. You will need to have really good power tools and patience, as this is freakishly hard wood to cut, so take your time and be safe. But I'll give you some motivation. For the subfloor and floor installation, I'm calculating here about $800 of savings. So if planning on investing in the new hardwood flooring, you may as well choose bamboo instead. Besides all the advantages I just mentioned, as I understand, strand woven bamboo is much harder than many hardwood floors out there, including the red oak, and in many cases less expensive, and it will still last for a very long time. There is something about having a fireplace in the master bedroom. I just wanted it so bad. The problem was, to install a gas fireplace from scratch, you would have to run some serious installations inside of the walls, and then drill holes and connect it all to the outside, and then invest in actual gas fireplace fixture, and those ain't cheap. It all comes down to thousands of dollars without the mantle. Of course, you could hook up electric fireplace and just plug it in, and then scratch your head once you get your electricity bill. So how about this? Wall-mounted fixture, no background installation needed, you can put almost anywhere, and run it on bioethanol. It is eco-friendly fuel completely composed of biological products. Its emission is clean, and therefore burning this fuel is efficient and effective. And you can get one of those for only a couple $100. There, mind-blowing. And by choosing this option versus going for a gas fireplace, it saved me approximately $2,500. You know what I did? I just asked the contractor who framed the walls for me to install an additional simple square for the fireplace mantle as per my drawings. It only took him a few minutes to fasten a few 2x4 scraps and save me a lot of money. Once the subfloor had been installed, I just used that wood leftover to wrap the mantle skeleton and made it ready to receive tiling. At this point, I'm thinking stone. And honestly, for such a small area, it would even make sense to splurge on. But because you don't need a lot, you may just find enough of leftovers, something gorgeous at the clearance section of your tile store. Yep, you guessed it, I scored here too. I saved $150 by finding this split face white color marble on clearance. And again, if you tile this yourself, you'll save even more, let's say additional $250. Few tips when tiling with this rough stone mosaic tile. Wear gloves. Sharp little pieces will chip off and can easily go under your skin. Take it slow, these were just simply too heavy for me to hold in one hand while I'll splatter the cement on it with the other. Cut the edges straight and make joints in that manner. It's easier to do and it's neatly looking in the end. Measure all and line tiles on the floor first. When installing them, go as close to each one as possible, leaving no intentional gaps. Whatever gaps are left, and because it's a rough stone, there are going to be some, and you cannot simply do the grouting. What you will do, you will take a large plastic bag, like a large zipper bag for food will do, and just cut one corner, push the cement in it, and then squeeze the cement through that hole into any gaps, much like cake decorating, and just smooth it out with the finger and voila, done. For the top, I went and sourced a little bit of Toronto history, which is so important for me because I love the city that I get to call home. I found the reclaimed wood in a specialty store saved from an old multi-unit residential building built back in 1929, and it's a beautiful Douglas fir wood. I simply had it cut to size and then I sanded it down real good. I applied 3 coats of polyurethane and then I did just the same for the nightstands for this room. I used construction glue to fasten it on top of the mantle and boom, done! Fireplace fixture is now simply screwed onto the mantle. Looks like $1 million bucks, but as you just saw, it was built with nothing but scraps and muscle work. By now, I swear by IKEA storage solutions, whether we're talking about kitchen cabinets or closets like this one. Whatever you can imagine, you can pretty much custom build anything with their computer app, which anyone can use really. Sometimes some additional customization may be required or simply wanted. Like in this case, I really wanted to have the continuous look of the crown molding on top of the closet, so it almost looks like a built-in the wall, and of course to have a good lights inside of it. To do all that, each vertical piece of that closet had to be shortened for about 1 inch before it was put together and installed in a space. The electrical wires had to be run from the top and made sure they all went behind the railing on which the sliding doors were moving. All that imposed additional difficulties when installing that crown molding piece, but in a third prepared plank and very thin nerves, it was successfully completed. In moments like this, somehow you have to make yourself push through and breathe, and even the best just leave it in the moment and stress and come back to it the next day. Always better results when you're fresh. Once you see everything completed in the end, you will be proud of your struggles because you will see it was worth it. Savings on closet installation were about $500. I have to tell you one thing, I love fabric. I could never get enough of it. My favorite thing when creating a new space is fabric, French pleat drapery in particular. So when I moved into this house, I envisioned such custom-made drapery for every window. So I went on to have it priced just to see how much would it cost me to have one made for the window in this room. The price without the fabric came just over $1,400. I saw that not happening, so instead I got myself a simple sewing machine and I've decided to learn how to sew. Let me tell you, by now I've sewn miracles, I think, and for this room my first French pleat drapery. And that means savings to my pocket. I recorded step by step as I was doing it, so do expect detailed tutorial in a separate video. I will announce it just below this one, or you can also find all my content on my website at scrivali.com, so subscribe there or simply subscribe right here. And now, thinking on the furnishings for the room, I would always see what I already have that can be reused or changed a little perhaps, like this little red footstool from IKEA. I really don't need it in red anymore for any room, and I could use a piece just like this for the seating area in this room, so I decided I will reupholster it. Because the red fabric is just a slip-on fastened down below with the Velcro tape, it was easy to remove it, rip it off or sew it together, iron it, and that way use it as a pattern to help cut the new fabric. It's such a little piece, so for that much fabric I went to a designer store in the clearance section and got a scrap of premium upholstery for $9. Had enough for this and still have leftovers for a few throw pillows. I used my trusty sewing machine, put all new pieces together. I even reused the Velcro tape to save money and slipped on the new upholstery. I wanted a little glam, so I got a box of decorative nails, nailed it all along bottom edges of the footstool, put the legs back on, all new and glamorous. That day, the day when you start putting furniture in, when you get to use the space for the first time, when you get to sleep in that room, it will feel like the best day of your life. To me, that rewarding feeling of accomplishment is incomparable to anything else. You think, I rock, man, I built this and it's awesome, I get to really enjoy it and I didn't break the bank for it. So let's review the listed savings. Just by always looking to do everything possible myself and sourcing stuff on good sale, I was able to save approximately $11,800 for this room. In the end, I managed to get out of the same rather smaller sized master bedroom 2 separate areas, huge closet space, a fireplace, and all the luxe and comfort pieces I wanted. I did fit in the queen size bed with plenty of room to move around on each side. The look of it, because it's propelled up on tall legs, it gives an illusion of more space, revealing the free space underneath. But in order to make all that to work, I had to have everything else up in the air, like the nightstands and the bedside lights. In addition to that, because closet runs along one side of the bed, I had no choice but to go for the sliding doors on it, and I had to be careful how to design inside of the closet in terms of any drawers that will be pulled out on a regular basis, so that also doesn't interfere with the nightstands or the bed. Remember, functionality first, so always pay some extra time to predict all these details, test if you can, and then work the pretty around the function. I actually did get 2 visually separated areas in here, and such separations are easy to do with rugs, for example. I chose geometrical patterned rug to tone down that flowery, rather traditional motif on a drapery and place it halfway underneath the bed. This way, you'll still have something warm for your feet to land on when you get up from the bed, but the main purpose of it was to define the bed space and bring in some softness into the room, of course. The other area is marked as sitting corner for reading, or actually for watching TV, as this wingback chair turned out to be very comfortable for that as well. Place to sit, relax, put up the feet, cozy up by the fire, have a cup of tea. Different lighting in the space makes so much of the atmosphere, and I managed to get what I wanted. Hands down, the closet light, my fave. It radiates such wonderful soft light through those glass doors. I got so much space with the new closet, and the functional solutions for the inside of the closet that you can pick and choose at IKEA are just so great. Keeping things organized, nicely displayed, you can reach to everything with no problems, so dressing up actually gets done much faster. One thing I really enjoyed doing in this room was to watch TV from the bed. From this spot, I can take the whole room in, all of it coziness, comfort, and each time I think to myself, I built this, I'm a super master genius. Hey, thanks for watching. For more videos like this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and head over to my website at scrivali.com. Subscribe there with your email and never miss new content. For additional info related to this video, just scroll down and find it all under description. And yes, please leave a comment. Do you have a similar experience that you would like to share with us? Please do. Any useful tip under your sleeve? Put Put it all down there in the comment box. Until the next time, bye! And to have something cold from a seat, and having something cold from a seat, and having something cold from a freezer to press on for when you knew. Which language do I speak? I think that's pretty good. Just for fabric. And I broke my tongue. Second tip. Second tip. Second tip. No, that's not what I wanted. You can do the same for the... I pulled antique white color and maroon. Okay, that was good. It's just better if it's together. Wait, what? And then I pulled my